Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 3 of Ultimate Black Panther, written by Brian Edward Hill. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. Now, following the events of issue number 2, we pick up with Shuri doing some training with a robot that is strong enough to punch holes through a solid tree. But see, that is of no concern to our princess, because similar to her sparring partner, she was also able to put some force behind her strikes. Because in a single hit, she was able to obliterate her adversary. Now, with that wrapping up, we get the arrival of Queen Okoye looking for her husband, King T'Challa, because at this point in the story, he has been gone for weeks without a single exchange of words. So from Okoye's point of view, the Black Panther is missing in action. And if there was anyone who had any idea of where he could be, it would be the last person who spoke to him before his ship went down, and that would be Shuri. But during their conversation, Shuri tells her queen to trust that her brother is doing what he feels needs to be done in the way he needs to do it. And with that statement, Shuri turns her back on Okoye and tells her that she needs to learn to trust her as she attempts to walk away. Now, within a blink of an eye, Okoye turns Shuri back around to face her, because Okoye wasn't done with their conversation. Because if Shuri wasn't going to volunteer the information, then the queen thought she should try a different method in getting it. Because by the Dora Milaje rules, the first to fall on their back yields to their opponent. So with that out there, the two fierce warriors trade hit for hit, going toe-to-toe. And with a well-placed swipe of her feet, the queen went crashing onto the ground. So with the battle decided, and Shuri victorious, Okoye was forced to submit to her sister-in-law. Now, following that, Shuri goes on to at least disclose that her brother believes he is on the right path. Now, with that intro covered, we pick up in the wild, following prey that was quickly put down by Killmonger alongside the man of the hour, T'Challa. Because unlike the great and powerful city of Wakanda, those who live out in the wild must hunt to eat. And in an attempt to cover up every trace of their movements, one must cut the meat from their bounty as if done by a beast. Now, after T'Challa has completed the deed, being careful not to leave any trace of human activity behind, the two unlikely travelers find themselves sharing a campfire. And during their exchange, T'Challa states in order to protect his kingdom, he needs to be out in the wild, where Wakanda's enemies make their war. So with that said, we learn much like the original Killmonger, this Ultimate Universe version also was from Wakanda, and also like him, he believes he is better suited helping out in the world. Because Eric states that he is a prodigal son of Wakanda, but he has little interest in returning. Now this of course prompts our king to ask why. In which Killmonger replies by saying, he got tired of sleeping in paradise while people who looked like him suffered in the world beyond it, and he also got tired of being told he should be proud to do so. So with tension growing thick in the air, T'Challa replies with the Black Panther is here to protect the innocent. So in order to put an end to this conversation, Killmonger declares they turn their mind from the innocent to the guilty. Because tonight Storm and himself want to show T'Challa what their enemies truly seek. And contrary to what the Black Panther believes, it is not in Wakanda. So in order to preserve the safety of this location, Killmonger put a hood over the Black Panther's head. And after their journey, T'Challa removed his hood only to be met by a cave in the shape of a panther on the side of a hill. So with a shocked expression on his face, T'Challa just looked on in amazement as Killmonger assured him that there is so much more in Africa than just Wakanda. So with no hesitation, Killmonger took the lead and entered the entrance, as T'Challa made sure to take precautions by suiting up. And through their descent, we see how the walls of the cave were covered in ornate designs, with a language that T'Challa did not recognize. For those who built this place was extremely ancient. Now how ancient isn't said, but one can guess it was super ancient. So with that discovery, Killmonger goes on to say that Storm is waiting for them down below, so after he tossed his torch, he too took the leap. And at the bottom of the drop, the two were met by vibranium all over the walls. So of course the Black Panther assumed this was what Ra and Khonshu was after, but Killmonger had to crush his bubble by saying not entirely, because there was still more to be seen. Now on a side note, T'Challa points out how his suit was starting to refuse to follow his command, and which Eric tells him, because in here T'Challa is not its master, so it would be best if he lets it rest. Now following that explanation, the king is led to yet another hole, but this one is far deeper than the last, so deep in fact, that jumping isn't an option. So with a snap of a crystal, Killmonger tossed it into the depths just like his torch before, because deep down below the mighty Storm waited. So with the signal given, Storm set up a gust of wind to aid in their journey below. So as the two dropped down into the darkness, they landed softly before the wind goddess herself. Now following that, almost instantly, Storm asks Killmonger if he trusts T'Challa, in which he replies by saying that they need to be more than two to accomplish their goals. So with the decision made, Storm tells T'Challa, the son of Wakanda, that it is time to unlearn what he thinks he knows. Because the people who built this place, the Unknown, is a culture much older than Wakanda. Now this threw T'Challa off, because this goes against everything he thought he knew about the world. But that is when Storm tells him that perhaps this room will make the king humble. Because before him was a gigantic underground temple that far dated Wakanda, and whatever this civilization held within its walls was what the Moon Knight forces wanted, but lucky for them, Ra and Khonshu did not know about this place, but only the possibility of power. Power that is beyond the goddess of Bast. For in this cave, they have no idea what stood before them, but they know it is not Bast. So it is up to them not to allow it to fall into the hands of their enemies. And with that said, this issue of Ultimate Black Panther comes to an end. Now with that said, this issue was okay. I did like how they gave us some character interaction between Killmonger and T'Challa. And as for Storm, I love how she is not trusting of T'Challa right out the gate. Because in this universe, by the looks of things, Storm seems to be with Killmonger, which is an interesting twist to their original dynamic. Especially because in the first issue the prophet stated Storm would bear him a child that Wakanda was waiting for. So like I said before, with Killmonger partnered with Storm and T'Challa married to Okoye, it seems super interesting on how this prophecy would come true. And as for the ancient civilization angle, I'm always a sucker for that kind of story, so I'm excited for how this would play out. So with that out there, if you want to stay in the loop about any individual storyline, then how about you hop over to the playlist section down below or in the link cards above to get all caught up on the Ultimate Universe. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.